lone warrior self traveling the skies through the day from morning to sunset. This place is roughly about 15 kilometers from Kumbakonam. So once you station yourself in Kumbakonam, most of these temples are easily reachable. A lot of reconstruction is going on. We are waiting outside, waiting for the temple to open at 7. Hi, this is Narayan, Navagraha Stala, around the Kumbakonam region. The Navagrahas are the 9 celestial bodies that hold a central place in the Hindu cosmology. Like the ancient Greeks and the ancient Babylonians, the ancient Indians too had figured out that not all stars above were the same. These ancient peoples noticed that 5 of them moved in a special way against a background of the fixed stars, what we have now come to know as the 5 major planets: Mercury, Mars, Venus, Saturn, and Jupiter. To these 5 were added 2 other celestial bodies, unmissable, the Sun and the Moon. So that made for 7. In addition, they added Rahu and Ketu. They are not physical bodies, but more like positions in the Moon's orbit. The north lunar node and the south lunar node, the places where eclipses happen. These grahas had a bearing or an influence on time itself, on the fate of the world and the human experience. It had an effect on individuals. At the moment that you were born, your natal chart would comprise of the particular positions of the 9 grahas against the fixed background of stars. Now the thing is, certain positions are not so good for an individual life, and therefore they are called doshas. These kind of doshas can affect your health, your career, your marital life, and your spiritual development. So you come here to those doshas that are particularly afflicting you, or in a more general sense, having come here, you do the entire circuit of 9 temples, and then hope that that mitigates, lessens the maleffects of the doshas. That's the belief. So the whole point of doing this circuit is to say that even though I may be afflicted, I pray that the effects may not be that severe. People come here to offer remedial action, Parihara, perform certain rituals. It's because these planets have great powers and therefore feared and respected. The first one we are visiting is the Sun Temple, called the Sooriyanar Temple. And Suryanar doesn't refer to the sun. They are all basically Shiva temples, because in Hinduism, nobody can be bigger than Shiva or Vishnu. So all the temples that we'll be going to are really Shiva temples. And the secondary forces are the grahas. Navagrahas as a cluster or a group have always been there in many major Shiva or Vishnu temples. You have a mandap or an enclosure of some kind in which all the 9 with the sun in the center are celebrated together. But what happens here around Kumbakonam is that they have their own temples. So why Kumbakonam? Kaveri Delta, the Chola heartland. The Cholas were master builders of temples in a very systematic manner all along the Kaveri Delta. This is in a small nondescript village called Thirumangalakudi, which today is also known as Sooriyanar Kovil. This place is roughly about 15 kilometers from Kumbakonam. So once you station yourself in Kumbakonam, most of these temples are easily reachable. This, in its present form, was built by the Cholas in the 11th century. So that puts it in the Kulottunga I reign. We are waiting outside, waiting for the temple to open at 7. The internet says 6 a.m., but this opens on 6 days of the week at only 7. It opens at 6 only on Sundays, the day of the sun. Kulottunga Chola I built it, and he called it Kulottungachola-Marttandalaya, which means the sun temple of Kulottunga Chola, was also celebrated as a Paadal Petra Sthalam, which simply means a temple that was praised in song. This was mentioned in an ancient document of poems called Tevaram. Women light lamps with wicks facing east. They light 9 of them, 1 for each graha. Surya with his 2 consorts, Usha and Pratyusha, also known as Chaya. Shiva is known as Suryanar, and his wife, Parvati, is known as Kokilambal. Shrine over there is the 7 planets, because inside the main sanctum we already have the Sun and Jupiter. Here the remaining 7 planets, each with their own idol. I don't want to go closer. It's not nice to go into the sanctum and shoot. A lot of reconstruction is going on. It's being, unfortunately, painted in some modern and garish colors. This was not the taste that the Cholas had. The whole temple seems to be in a dilapidated state. I'm sure in a matter of months it'll all be cleaned up. This is pretty ancient. And it's the only temple of its kind where you see all the grihas in one place. So this is not only about Suryan, but about Jupiter, about all the other planets, all in a row in the outer corridor. In the inner sanctum, Jupiter seems to have a pride of place where Jupiter is right opposite Surya's main idol. These temples, starting with this Sun temple, came up in different centuries, not all together, as a way of propitiating Shiva, asking for his forgiveness and getting relief from him. These happened in different places along the Kaveri Delta. And for the Sun, it just happened to be this location called Sooriyanar Kovil. And for other planets, there are other places which we will be visiting shortly. This is Surya riding his multi-horse chariot, going across the skies with his lone warrior self, traveling the skies through the day from morning to sunset. This is what we are used to seeing. So what was nice to see inside was the somewhat domesticated scene of Surya with his 2 consorts, Usha and Pratyusha. That's a little unusual. This one is what we are actually used to. Surya's characteristics are leadership, power, and therefore a strong sun in your Janam Kundali means you have confidence, you have leadership skills, and even political power. Whereas a weak sun causes ego problems as well as a weak relationship with authority. In this temple, you had a 10th one for Ganesha. So you never begin anything without first offering your respect to Ganesh. So therefore, there is a Ganesha shrine right at the entrance. So that brings it to a total of 10 gods to worship, which is why the shopkeepers outside, of course, from their point of view of business as well, advise you to buy a basket of 10 coconuts and you could give them away as donation after you're done with them inside. And one of them came to me and said, it helps my business, which was quite frank and candid. So we bought the 10 coconuts from him and went inside and offered it to the various deities. It was satisfying.